letting go isn't at the essence of who we are. Attachment is, because attachment keeps us safe and helps us to feel comfortable, right? Attachment is a normal part of who we are as humans. So, how is it possible for us to let go? You know, as a child, I never learned that I had an attachment problem. I thought that it was normal to live the way that I lived. And the way that I lived was I actually grew up in a hoarding household. My mom would save everything, everything that we had, she would save. We never threw anything out. And so my house was full of stuff. And when people would come over, it was the most terrifying experience to know that I was going to have a guest. Most people, when they have people come over, they're excited, they're looking forward to it. Me, when people would come over, I was struck with panic. I was struck with panic because we were literally putting stuff in bags, toys in bags, stuffing things away, packing things away, because we didn't want people to see how we truly lived. So home wasn't a place where I truly felt comfortable, but attachment was. I learned to have unhealthy relationships, to have unhealthy boundaries, to have unhealthy attachment to stuff, because I learned that that was part of what made me feel whole, what made me feel complete as a human being. There was this one girl that I was friends with in college. And I remember after I graduated from graduate school and moved back to New York, she reached out to me and she said that she wanted to know if we could meet up. And when we met up, she said, why don't we go back to your house? Now, I really had a lot of respect for her and I admired her and I probably had a crush on her. So because of that, I was like, oh my God, she's gonna know how I really live. And, that was the inner me. That was the real me. But the cocky me was like, you know what? Oh, well, I'm gonna take her back to my house anyway. And I will never forget what her face looked like when she saw my apartment for the first time. She looked around and she said, wow, I had no idea that you lived like this. And it was like the first time that someone who only saw me from my public eye, from an outsider's perspective, got to see the internal mess. And, that was a big turning point for me because I felt like it was the first time where I realized that I couldn't hide anymore. I couldn't use my charismatic personality to hide all the things, the big mess that was literally happening inside of myself. And I couldn't use, stuff to validate who I was. In terms of attachment for me, I was holding on to labels, my master's degree, the fact that I was a teacher, and I was using those attachments to define who I was. And it's like, we don't realize how, yes, of course, in the grand scheme of things, you really work hard to get into school and you really work hard to get a good job. But those are not the things that truly define who we are. Those are simply the things that we think, because we're attached to them, because it's a security blanket, that define us. But those are not truly the things that define us. And what happens when we attach ourselves to people, to things, to jobs, to titles, to everything like that is that we don't ever look within for validation. We only look without. And I had to learn that I needed to look within. You know, I mean, I came from a household where my mom told me that it was the stuff that we had, the art that we collected, you know, that made us a knowledgeable family, a family that was someone who knew what true art was. And because of that, you know, I started to, even when I moved out of my mom's house, I started to hoard. And I started to hold on to old textbooks from college and graduate school that I knew I would never read again. I started I started to hold on to clothes in my closet for years that still had the tags on them that I never wore, all because I was proud of having stuff, because I felt that stuff determined my worth. But I mean, that's normal, right? Because if you look at social media and you look at commercials and advertisements, we are constantly pushed, right, to buy, buy, buy. If you buy a nice car, this person will want to date you. If you have nice clothes, you know, you'll look the part and get the job. So essentially, we are all connected to attachment. But attachment is the one thing that holds us back from being our truest selves. And that was a lesson I really had to learn. I was scared to let go of this stuff because I didn't know who I was beyond that. I didn't know who that girl was. And I was kind of scared to figure out who that girl was. You know, I was holding on to bad relationships because I was afraid of being alone. And I mean, being afraid of being alone means you're not comfortable enough with yourself. You're not comfortable enough with who you are to be able to just sit with yourself. So I had to really do a lot of self assessment, a lot of deep soul searching, and I had to discover within myself what the real deal was, honey. I started by letting go of people. I remember I was dating this girl. Well, I wouldn't even call it dating. I was dating and talking to this girl, and I would sacrifice sleep every night and stay up maybe until 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to talk to her, because that was the only time we could talk after she would get off the phone with her boyfriend. Yes, her boyfriend. I would, you know, I would accumulate clothes and just allow them to sit there. And I had to really think to myself, what are you holding on to, honey? I remember with that girl and with the clothes, I started finding out ways that I could let them go. And it was kind of hard, you know, to face that reality of letting go and facing the unknown of not knowing what would happen when I let those things go. So the first thing I did was, I remember hanging up the phone and feeling terrible and saying to the universe, I give up. Not in the sense that I truly gave up, like I didn't want to live anymore. It was more, I give up in trying to hold on to things that don't serve me. And that was really powerful for me. When you start to let go of things that don't serve you because you trust that you are enough just the way you are, that is when you start to live. I remember when I started letting go of people, at first I started feeling insecure, like, well, then who am I going to hang out with? Or who are going to be my friends? And, when you take leaps and you invest in yourself, you will find when you let go of attachments that the right people, the right energies will come into your life. You know what I mean? And when I started to let go, the right energy, the right clarity, the right messages were able to flow. But sometimes when you hold on to attachment, you're blocking positive energy from flowing into your life. If you saw my IG video, I recently shaved my head. Well, last month I shaved my head, and I did that because I noticed I had attachment to my hair, as many of us do, because especially for women, I feel that it defines who we are. And I would encourage you, I would urge you to really do a self-assessment. What are the things in your life right now that you are holding on to out of fear, because you don't want to be lonely, because you're scared to let go? I want you today to make a list of what those things are. And I want you next to those things to write down, what are the things that you can start to do today to take action to start to let go of those things? For me, it was going through my closet and really asking myself, Julia, Junie Mars, have you worn this outfit in the last 6 months? If I hadn't, I took it out of my closet. And what I did was I donated over 65% of my wardrobe to an organization called Bottomless Closet, which helps women who are trying to get back on their feet, have the proper attire for job interviews, and, ace the interview. Now, how selfish is it that I'm holding on to these awesome suits that I'm not wearing when someone else could wear it and benefit from it right now? That's what attachment is all about. We are attached to things because we think this is it. This is my precious jewel. This is all that I have. But we don't realize when we let go of things, we're able to really fly, to really be free, to really discover what it is beyond what we think. It's so limited what we think that we're able to have, but when we let go, we are able to see that there's so much more to life. When I let go of all those clothes, 65% of my wardrobe, I felt this energy of my closet, like a glowing energy, and I felt so much better. And I used to have clothing meltdowns. And now it's so easy for me to pick out what I want to wear because I don't have that much stuff, and it's okay. Now my circle of friends is a lot smaller, but it's okay because I know my true friends are really there. So do a self-assessment on yourself. Figure out what it is that you need to let go of. And let me know in the comments, what is it that you are making a commitment to let go of? And if you want to follow up with me, I'd love to hear from you. You can email me at imjuniemars@gmail.com and let me know how that letting go process is. You can change your life because you can learn to let go of attachment. It all starts with you. Have an awesome, amazing, beautiful day.